Hello again, how are you all?
How are you? We are so excited. Video number, we don't know.
We've lost count now.
We've lost count. My name's Bella.
Jane.
And we are two friends just having a conversation. We are definitely not experts, so we've been assured.
By multiple sources, but it keeps coming.
Yeah, but we're just following our divine essence, which tells us to keep on making these videos, and even if they're only rippling out and 5 people are watching them, that's okay with us.
Yes, I received a message from a very dear family member of mine a week or so ago, really saying how ashamed he was at my behaviour and stuff that I've been posting and talking about. And you know what, I said I'm not going to apologise for anything that I've said. I'm not going to apologise for anything that I've posted, because we are not in ordinary times, and if ever there was a time to find your voice, it's now. And it's even if we are in what was described to me in that message as in an echo chamber, where we're only talking to 30 people who all share the same opinions. And I quite liked the echo chamber analogy, actually. And I was listening to Newsmax TV the other night a little bit, and I noticed that they were showing some clips from the mainstream media over there, and they were all using this word echo chamber. And I thought, wow, that must have been like a media release that went out, so that, let's start putting these people, telling them they're in an echo chamber and they're only talking to themselves, and that way they might shut up, because they don't have an audience. But we liked echo chamber, we liked that.
We might even rename our channel as the echo chamber. We liked that. We might adopt that, because look, if we're only reaching 5 people, 10 people, it doesn't matter to us, because those 5 people are then reaching 5 people, and those 5 people are reaching 5 people, and those 5 people are reaching 5 people, and so forth, creating a ripple effect, reaching every corner of the globe. So we really wanted to talk today about, do your family think you're crazy? Do your friends think you're crazy? And to really just, the time for worrying about what people think of us, the time for hiding in the shadows and thinking, oh, I'm not going to say that, I might offend that person. That time is over. It is time to step up and rise. It's time to step up and rise. And if you're watching this and you feel like you've got these family members who think you're crazy, don't worry about it. It's time for us to speak our truth, whatever that truth may be.
Join the club, because I haven't heard anybody who's been speaking the truth say that their entire family was behind them, or even that one other family member was behind them. I'm not sure that any of my family, in fact I am sure that all of my family, they just think I've lost the plot, and that's okay. I don't mind. In fact, I find it quite amusing, to be honest.
She's never been clearer, she's never been more aligned, and she's never been more awake than this point in time. And it just so happens that this is when she's told she's delusional.
What I find interesting too is that if I'm wrong about this, if we're wrong about this, we'll admit it. It's okay. I'm not going to get angry that I've been misled or anything like that. I'll say, well, I thought I was right at the time, and I was wrong, and I'll get on with it and move on to the next phase. But I'm not going to sit down and not stand up and say what I believe, what I feel in my heart to be true. I'm not going to not say it, because there's never been a more important time to have your voice, whatever that voice is. And as far as all this sort of inciting violence and all this sort of stuff goes, we're not inciting violence. We want peace, we want harmony, we want community, we want the end game, which is that beautiful new world.
We want the evolution of all of humanity, and if you want to get wishy-washy and rainbows and butterflies, we want to move into the golden age of utopia, the golden age of Aquarius, where there is liberation and freedom for all sentient beings on this earth. And that's the vision that we're holding for the future of humanity. However, to get to that point, the collapse of the 3D paradigm is happening, and that's this washing machine. You know, we are currently in the laundry going through a supermax load of, you know, cleaning all the junk that's currently on this planet collectively.
Yeah, no one's pressing the slow spin cycle. You know, we're all going for the fast cycle because we want this, as much of this moisture out before we hang this up to dry. And we were talking before about, you know, the psychological war that's going on, and how when you're in an abusive relationship, if it's an emotionally abusive relationship, the partner who's the controller will, instead of looking in the mirror at their own faults or their own bad behaviour or whatever, they put it onto the so-called victim. And so the victim takes on all the, you know, I've been bad, I haven't, you know, they're told that they're doing all the things that the abuser is doing, that the abuser cannot look at the shadow of their own negativity. They have to cast that shadow onto their victim, so that the victim feels like, oh, I didn't know I was doing that, but I'm not going to speak out now because, you know.
And she's going somewhere with this, so we're going to break it down to what we think is happening in the US and the election with President Trump, and what the mainstream media have done since the very, very moment that Donald Trump began running for president 4 years ago.
Oh, it's attack, you know, and saying to the Trump supporters, you know, you guys are out there and you're on the streets and you're attacking all the you know, the Democrats, the Biden supporters, whoever. You're the ones attacking, and it's kind of like, well, hang on a minute, who's actually paying these Antifa thugs, these BLM thugs? Who's paying them to get out onto the street to attack the Trump supporters? They're the ones that are attacking. You know, we're just talking about the, you know, that old sort of saying, the best form of, what is it? What we were just...
attack is the first line of defense. So the party that is the Democrat Party, they realise that they're crumbling, that the fraud of the election is going to be revealed. Everything is crumbling before their very eyes. So they are attacking as their last defence mechanism, or even their first, last, every defence mechanism is to attack the other side, to attack Donald Trump. It's been happening since the very first day he took office, or even decided to run for office. The media are just attack. And they have accused Donald Trump of any single person you talk to that doesn't like Donald Trump. Okay, why don't you like Donald Trump? He's a racist, he's a bigot, he's a homophobe, he's a xenophobe, he's what's all the other phobish. He's being accused of, you know, being all of these things. If you look back through the Democrat Party and what they have done, they are doing all of the things that the media are accusing Donald Trump of being. It's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, and ultimately it comes down to, it's not just the Democrat Party, because the Republican Party,
of course,
they've got their own.
Yes.
You know, it's really, we're in a point of, you know, and there's all these people talking about the biblical sort of stuff that's going on, and you know, I've had a hard time sort of getting my head around that, because I went to a Catholic school when I was little, and it was, you know, the whole Bible thing, it was just like, just stop it. Even the word God was hard for me to sort of handle for a lot of years, but now we truly are in it's a biblical endgame. And if you listen to, you know, the Wano Savins and the Dan Bohan and
Charlie Freak,
Sasha Stone, all the regular people that we talk about, that we listen to and love, they're all talking about this. This is a biblical, and there's reference to, you know, the book of Isaiah, the book of Esther, and all this biblical stuff, and it's true. It all makes sense, and so we are in a good versus evil sort of situation, and you know, this is the satanic pedophilia, and you know, all that.
And it's a war that's happening on the planet for the consciousness of humanity. So there's one side, the dark side, if you want to say, the evil, suppressive side that wants to keep humanity enslaved and kept at third dimensional consciousness. And then the other side, which is the light, however you want to say that, is wanting to evolve humanity into fifth dimensional consciousness. Fifth dimensional consciousness means the rise of all, and with the rise of all comes freedom, libertation, what else?
Well,
liberty.
I think in the last video you mentioned about, you know, finding the balance. So rather than like when we have feminism, it sort of suppresses the male. We want to raise the male up, raise the female up to a level playing field. I really love that analogy last time. And
yeah, raise the feminine, raise the masculine, raise the light, because it's been dark. So we want to bring the light to match. I don't think that we're ever going to remove darkness, because there needs to be polarity. There needs to be light and dark. You know, there's going to be light and dark and shadow in every single person on this earth, and that's not going to end. But it's about restoring that balance within the human self and within the collective.
you know, balance has been one of my favourite words for a long time, and it resonates this year more than ever. So that's all we want. We want balance. There's so much division around at the moment, and I think it's getting worse. I was just looking at a little clip before about, you know, this. We'll talk about Whoopi Goldberg again, because she seems to be one of the media people at the moment. You know, particularly in America, I suppose.
She's a voice for the left.
She's a very hardcore voice for the left, you know. She was, in one of her clips, she was just like, you know, suck it up, you Republicans, suck it up, because we've had to suck it up, but really angry about it, you know, and she attacks Trump supporters like with a venom it's poison, it's true poison. And, you know, blaming Trump supporters and Trump for attacking, and it's kind of like, well, hang on a minute. You know, you get the Million MAGA rally happened, you know, a few days ago in the States, where there were hundreds of thousands of Trump supporters, and they were all peacefully protesting, whatever you want to, you know. And it wasn't until the crowds thinned out, and then the Antifa thugs came in, and they were literally like the vision of, you know, attacking old men, old women on the streets, and pushing them to the ground and kicking them and spitting on them and throwing, you know, firecrackers at people. And it was just horrendous. These aren't the Trump supporters doing that. Trump supporters have to defend themselves against this attack. So, you know, which side are we on here?
Oh, and I want to shine light on, you know, whether you are a supporter for the Democrat or the Republican, Joe Biden versus, you know, Donald Trump. I think the large majority of people on this planet essentially want the same thing.
We all want the same thing.
We want a planet of humans that are free and sovereign and can go about their lives being liberated and living as their best selves. So just because you vote for Biden versus you vote for Trump or vice versa, it doesn't make anyone a bad person, because essentially we want the same thing for humanity. But this division that's been created, like, I hate you because you voted for Trump, or I hate you because you voted for Biden, we have to move beyond that as a humanity and as a collective. And the only way we're going to do that is if we learn the truth and we feel the truth in every cell of our being.
Otherwise, we remain stuck in this sticky mess that we're in. If we can't rise above it and, you know, admit there, but for the grace of God go I, because we're all humans. We all have the same ability to be sucked in by the dark or sucked up to the light. We have that within us. Within every cell of our being, we have that possibility. We live in a world of infinite possibility. So to deny that I could be a Biden supporter and become very angry, and that's a lie. So in order for me to kind of, using the word love, to love Whoopi Goldberg, it's a tough one, right? But I can at least sort of say, you know what, I can't love you at the moment because I don't like what's coming out of your mouth, but I accept that you're in this paradigm that you've got no other choice at the moment. You are so full of anger and hate that you cannot find any love. But I choose love because, you know, and I've been accused of hate. I got really accused of being the most hateful person. But it's just not in my DNA. I'm not a hateful person.
I think what she's trying to say really is like, we're Donald Trump supporters, there's no doubt about it, right? But it doesn't mean that we hate Biden supporters. It doesn't mean that we hate the hardcore extreme left. We know essentially that everyone on this planet, or the vast majority of people, want the same thing. That's the evolution of humanity. We just believe that we're going to get there differently to how another person believes. And if we're really going to live in fifth dimensional consciousness and we're going to walk the talk that we are talking, then we have to accept other people's belief systems and versions of reality and what they think is the right thing, whether we agree with it or not.
Absolutely, and just not argue with it. I mean, we've had a lot of practice this year of not arguing with people because we are in a minority thought. So, you know, like I'll go to work and I'll be surrounded by 10 people that they just don't get it. They'll laugh at Trump and they'll watch the project, or, you know, people in general, not just people at work, but they won't get it. It's not part of the conversation. They're still living in the everything like as if it's kind of normal. Nothing's normal, but that everything's normal. And I just want to clarify one thing too. While we're Trump supporters, we don't expect Donald Trump to be the saviour, all right?
No.
He's not a guru. He's not the saviour. He's not going to become a false idol, because the days of false idols are over. The media hold on to false idols. They claim to be the idols. They're all in the spotlight, and look at me, and I've got the right, you better listen to me. Well, you're not my false idol. Donald Trump isn't a false idol. He's just a guy that's a symbol of change, of transformation. He's like a seed, you know.
You know, the way that I see it is the ascension of humanity is going to happen regardless. There's a million ways that we can ascend with infinite number of timelines and possibilities available to us at any given time. We just feel that with Donald Trump as President of the United States, that the ascension of humanity is going to happen in the fastest possible time.
Well, he's the only guy. He's the guy that has the power. He's the guy that has the right intention.
Despite what you may have seen by the mainstream narrative, you have to look outside the mainstream narrative. If you are to see anything good about Donald Trump, you are not going to find it on the mainstream narrative. We can assure you of that.
Oh God, I watched 5 minutes of the project last night, and it's a disgrace, really. These people are, their days are numbered. They are numbered.
So what are our predictions for what we see happening in the next coming months?
Oh God.
We're going to share some little predictions with you. First prediction, Joe Biden will not be the 46th President of the United States. Not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. There's too much proof coming out. There's too much, with all these false ballots that were posted and all this. Trump won by a landslide. It's only a matter of time before we all see that.
And again, why is this important? Okay, voter fraud in the United States with the Dominion software, or whatever it is they're using. They're also using this software in Australia, New Zealand, other countries of the Commonwealth, the Big Five, which we got UK, Canada, Australia, America, and New Zealand. Okay, the Five Eyes of the Illuminati, or whatever you want to call it, using the Dominion software. So, if voter fraud has occurred in America using this software, do you not think that voter fraud is occurring in at least the other 5 countries? Of course it is, which means us as a humanity that are in these nations, and probably many other nations around the world, we're not truly electing our president or our prime minister of our nation. Do you not see a problem with that? How can we evolve as a humanity if we don't even get a say on who is our leader? Therefore, we don't really get a say on what laws are being passed or what legislation is being put forward, because it's not actually the person that we voted for.
No. I don't even know what to say to that.
There's an agenda that's beyond what humanity actually wants.
You know, go back and just Google or DuckDuckGo, Agenda 30, and see what comes up. I mean, there was a vote last week, I think, in Parliament, something to do with, it was part of the Great Reset. So 27 out of 34 or something voted in favour of this reset, which is the left plan. So it's part of the Agenda 31, the Agenda 30 New World Order plan to reset, which means that they'll say we're going to forgive your debt, we're going to, there'll be no more home payments, there'll be all this, but basically it's just to make you feel good, and then they take it all out from under you, and there's no ownership.
What happens in this great reset is you sign everything over. You say, okay, I'm going to have no debt, I'm going to be free of all these things, but I have to sign everything I own over to you. I also have to get vaccinated because I can't move about freely wherever I want to do unless I become vaccinated. So I never own anything. I'm owned and controlled. It could be taken away from me at any time. This is enslavement of humanity. This is not liberation and freedom for all.
No, this is this RFID chip that's connected to the 5G network that that controls everything we do. So if we're not vaccinated, if we don't have the RFID chip, we can't go into shops, we can't go into the bank, we can't buy food, we can't do this, we can't do that. The kids can't, we can't travel, can't.
This is the New World Order, the enslavement of humanity. And we feel that it's the opposite path that Donald Trump wants to take humanity. That's why we support Donald Trump and everything that Donald Trump is for. We do feel that the Democratic Party and Joe Biden is for the New World Order. They've even been talking about it. They've been releasing it. If the New World Order gets rolled out in the United States, it's definitely going to be rolled out in the other 4 countries of the Big Five, and then it's going to ripple out to the rest of the world.
No, and we've heard it more than once been said that that Australia, Canada, New Zealand, that we are the litmus test for the rest of the world. So that because we've had a great life, we're happy-go-lucky, nothing's too much of a problem. That's been planned on purpose to sort of dumb us down, so that if they can control us, then it sends out a message to the rest of the world. Well, if it's okay for Australia and Canada and these easygoing nations, then it's okay for us.
In actual fact, I'm going to touch on that. I've had a young man in Bulgaria who's been editing some content for me for the new platform the content that I'm releasing on my platform. And he messaged me and said, I heard it's been, really great in Australia. There's no problems going on. Everyone's following the rules. Everyone's wearing their masks. There's been no disharmony. And I was just like, what? Excuse me? And we had this back and forth conversation. He said, oh my God, the Bulgarians are really, up against the government. They don't trust anyone. They won't wear masks, whatever. So their mainstream media is saying, look, in Australia, they're all following the rules, which is total bull-dust because we're not all following the rules. But this is what they're rolling out to the Eastern European companies who have a very good memory and they do not trust their governments.
Yeah, they've been through this before, right? These Eastern Bloc countries. And I've heard quite a few people say, they grew up in some of these Eastern Bloc countries, and what they're seeing right now in Australia, around the world, not being able to see your loved ones in hospital, particularly when they're dying, and not being able to be, at the birth of your child, or in France, women are being forced to wear masks whilst giving birth, and all this sort of stuff. They said, even the Nazis and the Russians weren't that cruel. They weren't that cruel.
I mean, to have, a good friend of mine, her father passed away recently, and she, went to see her dying father in his last days in the hospital. Like, oh no, there's only one person allowed in every 24 hours. Excuse me? These are crimes against humanity of, gigantic proportions. And, 100 years from now, this time is going to be looked upon in the history books with absolute insanity.
And another, while we're on the subject of insanity, we're going to be doing our first interview very soon with my man Dan Bohan in America. Dan he leads the Watchman Way, so I'll let him tell you all about that. But and I want him to tell this story as well, but he was saying that, in 2014, he was in a position in America where he was looking at places where he could take his family to get away from the corruption that where they would be safe. And this was in America, in his own country. And I'm going to let him tell that story because it was really powerful. But in America, land of the free, land of the brave, he was looking for a place to hide his families from his own government. I mean, you know, what's that?
And I want to send a shout out to the governments of the world, the governments of all the different countries. Be on notice, because the people are rising, and we are not going to stand for this anymore. We will not stand for the corruption and the enslavement of humanity.
We will be slaves no more.
We will be slaves no more. And, you know, give me a fuck yeah if you agree with me.
Fuck yeah. I agree with you.
Because, you know, I hold a vision where there's liberty and freedom for all of humanity. And some people say, oh, that's just like, you know, wishy-washy. No, it's not. We are sovereign beings of this earth. We are the only species on this earth that pays to live here.
It's our God-given right to be free, and it's been taken
Absolutely.
away, and fuck that.
Fuck that.
Fuck that.
Yes. Yeah.
Shame.
Fuck that. This is our Trumpy mascot.
Stay there with Jamie.
Because he cleans the dirt and the dust.
Exactly.
He's like,
Exactly.
You know, he gets all the dust up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love
You
Trump.
clean the swamp, Trumpy. We love you cleaning the swamp.
Yeah.
You just wait till all these. You wait. In the next. Oh, here's another prediction. It's not even a prediction. This is fact. In the next few months, you look at what's been going on with all of these, with Hillary and all these monsters. All these arrests are going to be shown. A lot of these people have already been through military tribunals. They've already been sentenced. There's been an overwhelming amount of planes in and out of Gitmo. There's stuff going on that we don't even know about. We don't know about it. It's all this is a military operation. It's all going to come out.
And it's exciting.
There'll be a time not too far into the future where TV is gone as we know it. The media will be gone, and what will be broadcast is the truth of what's been going on. There'll be video footage, because the NSA, the National Security Agency in America, have all the evidence from the past 20, 25 years. They've filmed everything. They've videotaped.
They've recorded every phone call on this planet, from a doctor's appointment to the president talking about whatever he's
hot
talking
dogs. How about that? How lovely Obama and his hot dogs.
And his hot dogs.
Hot dogs and pizza. We're having a pizza party.
Yeah.
Fuck your pizza party. You know, I haven't eaten pizza since February, and I'm like, I just can't. I know. It's the psychological attachment to.
You know, and if you don't know what we're talking about, get your research on
Pizzagate.
Pizzagate.
Go and watch, for God's sake, go and watch Fall of Cabal, part 1 to 10. If you're new to this, it's a very, very good place to start to get this information. It covers everything, basically, in a bit of a nutshell.
And, you know, you can really go down some rabbit holes if you are inclined. And all the information is pretty easy to find. I mean, it is probably getting harder and harder with the censorship coming from the big tech giants, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. The censorship is like, you know, absolutely mind-blowing. But this information can still be found if you really want to go down that path and begin your journey of looking at, okay, maybe everything we've been told is possibly, you know, not true.
If it's not true, we'll admit it and we'll move on. We won't get angry about it. We won't attack people because they were right. We'll accept it. I'll accept it. If I'm wrong, I'll accept it.
Also, you know, but the difference between us and people who are in the extreme left, right, is we are willing to say, okay, it's possible that, you know, we've been led down a path that's, you know, we're delusional. It's possible. It's possible. And we're willing to say that, right? We don't really think so, but it's possible. And should that be the case, then we'll be like, well, jeepers creepers, they had one on me.
Yeah, well, you know, we're all fucked if that happens. If what we've been talking about is not true, and this New World Order agenda comes in, and we have the, you know, the new normal, fuck the new normal, we're all fucked anyway, so.
But I want to share this because
doesn't matter.
I shared it in an Instagram post, but I'm going to say it in the video. I've been on my own awakening journey. You know, every individual on this planet is going to awaken along with the collective of humanity. The individual will more than likely awaken first and be on their own awakening journey before the individual journey is faster than the collective journey, obviously. My journey has been happening for 10 years. I have not been on the journey that I have. I have not experienced everything that I have in my awakening journey. Am I enlightened? Fuck no, far from it. However, I'm a lot more awakened than I was 10 years ago. I have not been on this journey to become delusional at the beginning of the Great Awakening, the time when the mass of humanity begins to awaken.
No, we were talking before too about what is it within us, within everybody, that we go through. You know, we're brought up, we go through this path, and then all of a sudden we diverge. So we diverge off into here to the right. Let's just call it to the awakening, or we keep onto that left-hand path, and we are controlled by fear. We're staying in our homes, we're staying in lockdown, we're believing what the government's telling us, we're lining up for the vaccination, we're listening to the media, and we're living in fear. What is this atom seed here in the middle that separates the path? For me, I think it's an innate connection to source energy. And like Bella said,
I came to the planet as a very young girl knowing that I was here on a mission. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that I was here for something really important. So when I would hear, you know, what's going on in the media, the narrative, that there was something inside of me that was like, I don't know about that. That doesn't ring true for me. So I began searching, I began looking elsewhere. So I think it's coming through with this inner knowing that you came here to serve, you came here for something important, and what you're doing is not quite cutting the biscuit. You're like, I came for something different. So the searching starts, right? I think that's, for me, what created I'm not going to go this way, I'm going to go this way and become a conspiracy theorist. I'm going to think for myself. I'm going to challenge the status quo, because what you're telling me, there's something inside my body that goes, nah.
It's the difference between coming from the stars and being star beings, and coming from this Darwinian lie of evolution, so that we've evolved from the apes. You know, we were told this could be the reality. Where's the truth in here?
Prediction number, how many predictions are we up to?
3, maybe.
Number 4?
4.
Prediction number 4. Alien knowledge of extraterrestrial beings will be revealed soon. I don't know how soon, but definitely probably within the next 12 to 18 months, I think that
we've had some drip this year. They've dripped a little bit out, but I think there's a lot more. And you know, I was listening to someone the other day talking about we're in a war of numbers. This is a war of numbers, and a lot of this is based on numerology, and even like Area 51 and how 6 represents, I can't remember what it is. If you know, go to Charlie Freak and these guys that focus on the numerology of things, and they'll explain all of that to you really beautifully. I can't do that, but when they talk about these things, it all resonates. All these numbers that.
And the biblical references with these numbers and these synchronicities, when you listen to these guys break it down, 107, Charlie Freak, when they break down the numerology and the biblical references of that numerology, I'm sorry, but you cannot deny. You can't just think, oh, that's just a really big coincidence. I'm sorry. It's like it becomes impossible to turn the other cheek, really, if you really want to go there.
I mean, I'm to the point now where I think, should I actually read the Bible? I mean, come on. Read the Bible? Come on.
One of my friends read the Bible because she couldn't sleep at night. She was like, just read the Bible. It's like, whatever floats your boat.
I know, right? I know. But I'll search for the Book of Esther and the Book of, what was the other, Revelations, or these different particular sort of sections of the Bible that have been cut out. And there's the book. It's not the Book of Isaiah. It's the Book of I don't know.
We're rambling.
We'll figure it out. But whatever. It's biblical. Okay, it's biblical.
Prediction number 5. Final prediction.
Hang on. Prediction. All right. You go.
No, you go. What's yours?
Okay. Prediction number 5 is I'll be able to speak one day without tripping all over my words. That's a nice prediction.
Prediction number 6. December 21. Summer solstice in the southern hemisphere, winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. Gigantic solar flare hitting the Earth, creating a ripple effect which increases the consciousness of humanity. So, if you get to December 21 or the end of the year and you're all of a sudden like, what the is going on in my mind? Solar flare hitting the Earth.
Yeah, we're in for some glorious days. But in order to get there, we're still on spin cycle. We're still on fast spin cycle.
We're in the laundry.
Yes, yeah. We're cleaning the fucking swamp. All right, we do what we can. We don't shut up now. We don't get told that because we're in a little echo chamber that nobody's hearing
Time
us.
to rise. We don't care if
We love the echo
we don't
chamber.
care if people aren't watching us. We care. If you've made it this far, you are a legend.
You're a legend, and thanks for being in the echo chamber with us.
Yes.
And let's just keep having fun with this, hey? And I could say let's not take it too seriously, but this is serious business. But in the meantime, let's keep it as light as possible, all right? And focus on the good stuff coming, and the love that we can give, and the acceptance of, Whoopi. Oh, Whoopi.
The only thing Whoopi's going to be is my whoopee cushion.
But anyway, good on her. Keep it up, Whoopi. You're showing your true colours, and that's okay. She must be missing her adrenochrome. That's all I can say.
Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you all. We love you all.
We'll see you when we connect with Mr. Bohan.
We will. Dan Bohan. And stick around with us. We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm still going, aren't I? Yeah. Bye.